so I think where I live in West Hamilton, it's really, really nice. So.
And then you started this bakery, but you actually, you worked in a bakery beforehand. So tell us kind of how you got involved in baking and in this field in particular.
Oh, well, as far as baking goes, I've been baking since I was a child. I always thought it was pretty neat. You can pretty much make anything with a few ingredients, which is kind of cool. People ask me, why do you bake instead of cook? And I think the answer for me is kind of obvious in that, you know, if you walk into your kitchen with a chicken, say for example, you pretty much come out with a chicken.
Right.
But if you're going to go in with the other, you know, eggs, flour, butter, whatever you're going to use as ingredients, you don't know what I'm going to come out with. And I think that's pretty cool. Like, it's very special.
And so then you decided to start a bakery. Why did you decide to actually make this your business as opposed to keeping it as a hobby or as something you did on the side?
Oh, I'm sorry. I had baked professionally for many years beforehand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I started as a child being interested in it, and then have been in the industry and have trained professionally and worked abroad and worked in hotels and restaurants. And when I came to Hamilton, I thought, you know, I think I'm ready to do my own thing rather than follow somebody else's. As well, having studied nutrition, I realized that the flour that I wanted to use was not the industrial stuff that was being used by everybody else. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to do what I want to do, then I have to build the bakery.
Yeah. Now, what do you mean by the flour you use is not the flour that everyone else uses?
Well, for the most part, baking is done with an industrial white flour that you go to the store, you buy a bag of white flour, and that's normal.
Right.
And even till I really started thinking about nutrition, that seemed normal to me. I didn't even question it. And then once I started thinking about it and started doing some more research and realizing that, say for example, in Europe, they will often, even in houses, people will grind their own flour to make their own baked goods. I began to think, hey, wait a minute, what is industrial flour really giving us? And what it is, you know, mostly starch, which is causing a lot of lifestyle problems for people because it's not absorbed in a particularly optimal way. And because of that thinking, I sort of said, well, what can I do to make a difference? When you kind of realize that what you love to do isn't necessarily the healthiest thing, then you sort of have this split, sort of a little bit of a cognitive dissonance or sort of a dichotomy. What should I do? And I spent a little bit of time thinking about that.
Yeah, and you came up with Made for You by Madeline, which is this brand new bakery that you opened. It's right on King William Street, which is really kind of a newly happening, I'd like to say, restaurant, hospitality, food district.
That's cool.
What made you choose that location?
You know, I always loved that street. When I moved to Hamilton, just wandering around, not really knowing anything about the history, just sort of seeing it with clean, you know, a clean slate, just fresh eyes. I always felt King William was a very calm kind of street. Maybe also it has the trees and the cobblestones, and it sort of has a different feel to it. When I came, Lister Block was actually just opened, so I didn't realize that it had a different history, or that, like I said, fresh eyes, right? So just having come here in February of 2012, it just seemed like the street that felt comfortable, I guess. Yeah.
Perfect place for a bakery. So you got this unit and you opened up your bakery, and we do have a few pictures that we're going to bring up on the screen actually. So excuse me, the first picture we've got is actually of the front facade. So there it is right there on the screen.
Okay.
Tell us what we're looking at there.
Pretty much a very small storefront.
Yeah. And
you can see into the small showcase in the front, and you can also see the wall where I have specialty tea.
Yeah, we have a picture of that, I think, too. Let's move on to the next photo here.
Yep.
So what is that?
Okay, so that is where the magic happens, and that is the grain grinder. It's basically housing a 8-inch stone mill, and there's a hopper at the top and the motor at the back. And it isn't terribly noisy, considering that it can do 40 pounds an hour of grain. So we don't do anywhere near that at this point. But and it's made by a company that has been making mills since I think 1910. Wow. So, and stone milling is the traditional way to keep the flour at a lower temperature so it retains its nutrients, and it's absolutely the best way to be processing
so that's
flour.
where your central ingredient is generated. And the next photo we have here, this is your tea wall.
Yes.
So tea and a bakery.
Yeah.
Good match.
I think it is. You know what? It kind of fit the concept of something that was a little bit healthier.
Yeah.
I know that coffee is all the rage in Hamilton. We've got a lot of people doing coffee, and I'd say doing a very nice job of smaller producers and very responsibly producing coffee. So part of my thinking was that there's a room for tea. I think I'm a big tea drinker myself, so I know a lot about tea, and I think there are others who like it, and it's an underserved market. So that's partly why I did it, and as well because I think it's generally as a lifestyle, it's a healthier beverage.
And it's coupled with all of your fantastic food here. So I wanted to show off some of what you are currently making in your beautiful little storefront there. Here we've got some biscotti.